Did you know that a lot of hikers unintentionally sabotage their adventures by choosing gear in the wrong order? Well, I've been there, soaked, frustrated, and regretting my choices, until I fine-tuned a method to build a gear kit that really works. So in this video, I'm going to show you my exact gear mastery process that's easy, reliable, and ensures your next multi-day hike is your best yet. First, I want to thank everyone for all your comments and questions on the Trails Framework video that came out a few days ago. Your enthusiasm has been incredible, and I'm excited to dive deeper into what many of you asked about: creating a gear system that actually works. Now, before I walk you through the actual system, I want to share a quick story and the philosophy that changed everything for me. Because getting a gear right isn't just about packing light or having the latest gear. It starts with understanding what truly matters. My gear philosophy. So here's the truth. Gear should simplify your hike, not complicate it. Yet, too many hikers chased after the perfect ultralight setup or grab the newest gadget without stopping to ask the most important question. Does this gear actually solve a real problem for my hike? When I first started hiking as a teenager, my kit was as basic as it gets. I borrowed packs, wore second-hand boots, and used a hand-me-down Japara style raincoat. Very old school. Actually, I even had one of those packs of my grandfather's, like the H-frame metal packs. That was really old school. That was what I started out with. But I digress. Then one year on my birthday, my parents gave me my first proper Gore-Tex shell raincoat. It was the late 1990s and it was a revelation. No more soggy sleeves, no more drafty zips. For the first time, I felt protected, comfortable, and most importantly, I could trust that jacket when conditions turned nasty. Soon after came another game changer, my first down sleeping bag. It was incredibly light, warm, and packable. Suddenly I was sleeping better, and that completely transformed how I hiked. Those two upgrades became foundational for me. At the same time, I added a basic layering system, mostly with items found on sale or hand-me-downs, while continuing to borrow the rest of my stuff. That experience taught me something powerful. You don't need a full premium kit to hike well, but investing wisely in the gear that truly matters for your conditions makes all the difference. So don't rush your gear choices. Start with the big impact items: rain protection, footwear, layering, and your sleep system, and build thoughtfully from there. The Gear Mastery System. So now that you know that your gear should simplify, not complicate your hiking experience, let's turn that insight into a clear, practical system. This approach grows with you, prevents costly mistakes, and gives you complete confidence in your gear choices. And well, I like to call it the SCOPE method. The SCOPE method. So what is the SCOPE method? Well, this is what it stands for. First up, you've got S. S. Sequence matters. One question many of you have asked is, what gear should I invest in first? There's a logical order to building your kit, and here is my personal recommendation. Firstly, your shell, your rain jacket, and your pants. This is your first line of defense. Get this wrong and you will suffer. Next, your footwear. Match your footwear to the terrain and ensure a proper fit, and break them in well before your hike. Next, your layering system. A base layer, a mid layer, and even an insulation layer are worthwhile. Think versatility and comfort. Then you've got your sleep system. A bag or a quilt, quilts are very nice, and a sleeping pad tailored specifically to your expected conditions. Next up, your shelter. Your tent or your tarp system, which should be balancing weight, ease of setup, and weather resistance. Then your kitchen, your stove, your fuel, your pot, your cutlery, that type of thing. Keep it simple. Next, your pack. And I tend to say choose your pack only after finalizing all of your other gear first. Your pack should fit your gear, not the other way around. Never buy your pack first. It must suit your final gear loadout, not dictate what you can actually take. You need to have a pack that's going to be able to fit all that other system that you've built. C, core kit first. And what I like to do is separate gear into two clear groups. My core kit, this is the gear that always goes with me no matter what. The rain shell, the shelter, the sleep system, the cooking gear, and the appropriate layers. Then you have your optional kit, luxuries, backup niche items. They only come if space and weight allow. Stick to your core kit religiously. Optional gear must earn its place on every single trip. Oh, ongoing audits. After every hike, perform a quick gear audit. What didn't you use? What was essential? What would you leave behind next time? Regular audits build trust in your choices, steadily reducing pack weight and complexity without sacrificing comfort. P, pack integration. Now, smart gear demands smart packing. Don't just throw gear in, organize it thoughtfully in your pack. Things that have a high frequency of use, essentials that you want easily accessible, have them somewhere near the top. Think waterproofing. Use pack liners or dry sacks strategically. Think about the balance and fit of when you've got your pack on. Distribute weight carefully for comfort and stability on your back. And always test pack your gear before hitting the track. You don't want to discover fit or comfort issues mid-hike. Pack that pack back at home before you leave, try it on and make sure it's feeling okay. E, environment-specific tweaks. Adapt your kit thoughtfully to the conditions ahead. If you've got an alpine trip or a trip in the snow, you might need to add extra gloves, extra beanie, and extra insulation. If you're wet and in the tropics, then maybe you'll be swapping out down insulation for something lighter and synthetic and emphasizing more ventilation. If you're on a group hike, then share weight by splitting up the kitchen or shelter gear if you're going to go with a couple of people to each tent. Your gear isn't static. Your gear setup should never be static. It must flex and adapt based on your location, the weather, and even your group size. Let's apply this principle across major gear categories. First, rain gear. This is your non-negotiable protection. Invest in quality rain gear early. Look for 3 key things. Waterproof rating, that's how well it keeps water out. Ventilation, things like pit zips, underarm zippers that will help you cool off, and packability, how small and easily it packs away. You also want to look at your shelter. Match your setup to your needs. Now, solo hikers can save weight without sacrificing protection by using lightweight trekking pole tents, things like the Durston X-Dome 1 Plus or the Tarp Tent Stratospire, but always practice pitching your shelter in rough weather conditions before hitting the track. With your sleep system, which should be tailored for comfort, choose your sleeping bag or your quilt and mat carefully. You need to be considering things like what it's made from, down or synthetic insulation, temperature ratings, so you want to be matching it to the coldest nights you're going to be expecting, when you're going hiking on a regular basis. You also want to be thinking about things like the R value of your sleeping pad and how much warmth it provides relative to the temperatures you're going to be experiencing. With your clothing layers, you want to be thinking in systems. A good layering system has at least 3 parts. A base layer, which manages moisture and keeps you dry. A mid layer, which provides warmth, things like a fleece or something like that. And I also like to have my insulation layer, so I'll have a puffer or a down jacket, or I'll swap that out for a synthetic jacket if it's going to be wet. Then your outer layer and your shell. That's your raincoat that we talked about before. And that'll protect against wind and rain. Now, in most Australian conditions, you want to be having at least 3 layers. You want your base layer, and then you want a fleece, and then you want your shell. And I tend to throw in a puffer or a synthetic jacket as well. Then you've got your kitchen, and you want to keep this simple. Less is more in the hiking kitchen. 1 pot, a lightweight stove, and meals you've tested at home are far more practical than elaborate gourmet setups. For water, a reliable filtration system paired with smart planning around water sources can dramatically reduce the weight you need to carry while maintaining hydration. Your pack, you want to have comfort and compatibility. Choose your pack based on comfort and your actual gear volume. So as an example, I carry a lot of camera gear. So I prioritize packs that have good support and adjustable load carrying features. Your gear and priorities might differ, so always choose what fits your specific needs. From heavy to smart, my gear evolution. Now, when I was young and foolish, I'd just throw about anything into my pack that seemed pretty fun or interesting. Thick books, heavy journals, multiple pots and pans, you name it. Honestly, I packed all sorts of weird and wonderful things. Back then, I carried massive loads and I didn't really care. I had the energy and the mindset of more is better. But over time and with experience, my perspective shifted. Gradually, I noticed how all that extra weight slowed me down. It impacted my knees, my enjoyment, even my willingness to push those extra kilometers. And that's when I started stripping things back a bit. Not just for minimalism's sake, but because I wanted to hike smarter and not harder. That shift from packing what felt good to packing what truly worked, well, that changed everything. Now, most of the time, every single item in my pack has a clear purpose, most of the time. It's not minimalism for minimalism's sake, it's about freedom. And that freedom comes from trust. Trust in your gear, trust in your choices, and trust in your system. When you trust your setup, you're free to hike farther, explore deeper, and enjoy every step. Connection to the Trails framework. Now, this gear system we've covered here today is actually an expansion of the A in the Trails framework that I've developed. A meaning appropriate gear. But here's the key insight. Gear doesn't exist in isolation. It influences every other part of your hiking experience. So when we look at the Trails framework, the T, training, knowing your real pack weight directly shapes your physical preparation. With your route selection and planning, your gear choices determine how far, how fast, and how challenging your route can realistically be. With your intake, your cooking gear determines your meal choices, efficiency, and nutrition, and how you're going to feel out in the trail. Logistics, your gear selection affects your transport, your packing strategy, and your timing when you're out on the trail. And safety, well, gear failures create real risks. Redundancy in critical areas is essential. Now, gear isn't a separate decision, it's woven into the entire hiking experience, and that's exactly why getting your gear dialed in matters so much. It makes the entire trails framework actually work out in the real world. To help you put all this into action immediately, I've created a downloadable gear selection guide. It's a printable cheat sheet, little booklet if you will, with my complete category by category checklist, recommended gear buying sequence, and simple prompts for your post-hike gear audits. You'll find the link down below so you can grab it now. It's completely free and it'll give you a massive head start. Because here's the truth. Once your gear is dialed in and your system is sound, hiking becomes about what really matters, the freedom to explore. Now, if you're ready to build on that freedom, you're going to want to check out this video up here next, because understanding your gear is one thing, but avoiding the most costly mistakes that can ruin your hike, well, that's a whole different game. Watch this video now to dodge the painful errors hikers keep repeating. Fix these and your setup won't just be lighter, it'll actually work where it matters most, when you're out in the trail.